Hello everyone, we are the Aspen 3 group, and today we are going to be presenting Tuxman theory of group development. Basically, this theory helps us understand how teams grow and get better at working together over time. If you've ever been a part of a group, maybe for school, work, church, or a sports team, you probably noticed it can be difficult at first. Things might get a little confusing or messy, but eventually the group will start to work. That's exactly what this theory is all about. Tuxman theory is a way to understand how people in a group go from strangers to teammates. It shows that teamwork doesn't just happen right away. It's a process with steps. And when we understand those steps, it helps us stay calm, solve problems, and work better together. It's not about skipping over the hard parts, it's about learning and growing through them. Why building a team isn't so simple. A lot of people think teamwork is easy, like just bring people together, give them a task, and go. But it's not that simple. It takes time to figure out how to work together. People need to build trust, understand each other's styles, and learn how to divide up the work. Without that, it can feel like everyone's on a different page, and that's where things fall apart. Why teamwork is hard? Teamwork is hard because we all have different personalities and ways of doing things. Some people like working alone. Some people like to plan everything out, like me. Others are more go with the flow. And when communication isn't clear, our roles are confusing. Things can get tense really quickly. Sometimes, just the way something is said or when it's said can cause a problem. So it makes sense that starting out in a new group can feel weird, but that's normal. So if teamwork is hard, why do we still do it? The reason is when it works, teamwork is powerful. Teams help us share ideas, combine our strengths, and support each other. One person might be great at organizing, another might have strong creative ideas, and someone else might be good at presenting. When we bring all those things together, we can do a lot more than we could on our own. A good example of this is our own group. At the start, we were trying to figure out how to split things up, when to meet, and how to make the video. Everyone had different schedules and ideas, and it took some trial and error. But once we started talking more and made a plan, it got a lot smoother. That's exactly how Tuxman theory shows up in real life. It's not perfect, but we grow through it. This is where Tuxman's model comes in. In 1965, Bruce Tuxman created a model that explains how teams develop. He said most groups go through 5 stages before they can really perform well together. These stages help explain why teams sometimes feel stuck or confused at first, and what it takes to move past that. Here's a picture of Bruce Tuxman. Tuxman's 5 stages of group development. The 5 stages are forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Forming is when people get to know each other for the first time. Storming is when team members have conflicts or don't agree. Norming is when the group starts to work better and get organized. Performing is when the team works really well and gets things done. Adjourning is when the project ends and everyone goes their own way. I'll be explaining the first one, forming, in the next part of our presentation. So why does all of this matter? This theory matters because it helps us understand that teamwork takes time. If your team argues or feels unorganized at first, that doesn't mean it's a bad group. It just means you're still moving through the stages. It reminds us to communicate better, be flexible, and support one another. And honestly, these skills are useful way beyond school, in jobs, relationships, in life in general. So now, let's jump into the first stage, forming. Alright, so let's get into the first stage of Tuxman's model, forming. This is when a group first comes together. Everyone's just meeting for the first time, so people tend to be polite and careful. Nobody really wants to mess up or step on anyone's toes yet. There's a lot of smiling and nodding, but also a lot of uncertainty. What happens in forming? So what's actually happening during forming? Well, people are just trying to get along. They might not talk much because they're not sure what to say yet. There's a lot of stuff like, yeah, whatever works, or I'm good with anything. Most people are just trying to fit in and see how things work. And roles, they're not really clear yet. The group is still figuring out who does what. Usually, everyone looks to one person, maybe the leader or the person who seems most confident, to guide things. Common behaviors in forming. You will notice a few common things in this stage. People might avoid conflict completely, even if they don't agree with something. Most group members won't take big risks. They'll just go along with the flow to keep the peace. And a lot of the time, decisions get delayed because no one wants to make the first move. That's totally normal in the beginning. Everyone's still feeling it out. Challenges in forming. Now, there are some challenges in this stage. Since people are still getting comfortable, they might not speak up, even if they're confused or have a better idea. And without clear roles, it's easy for work to get missed, or for two people to accidentally do the same thing. It can feel a little slow or awkward, but honestly, that's just part of starting something new. Why forming matters. Even though it's not the most exciting stage, forming is super important. It gives people the time to build trust and learn how to work together. You can't expect a team to jump straight into being productive. Forming it's kind of like planting the seed before anything can grow. You got to start somewhere. The better a group gets through this stage, the smoother things will go later. What's next? After forming, the next stage is called storming. And yeah, it's kind of like it sounds. This is when people start speaking their minds, and that can lead to some real challenges. But that's a good thing. It's a sign the group is growing. So that's it for my part. I will hand it off to the next person who is going to take you through what storming looks like.
The second stage in Tuckman's theory is storming. The storming stage is when a team experiences conflict and tension as members begin to explain their initial ideas, struggle with roles, and work through disagreements. It's something that is normal and happens amongst many high performing teams. A perfect example is the 2010 and 2011 Miami Heat. Even with superstars like LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, the team very much struggled with leadership roles, which impacted their overall chemistry. Their tension made headlines, and the pressure piled on whether or not they would eventually win a championship. But they managed to work through it and went on to become the 2012 NBA champions of the world. The 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers also faced storming issues. After 20 years with the New England Patriots, superstar quarterback Tom Brady joined a new team with strong personalities like himself. Brady wasn't just any player, he was a solidified legend of the game and was ready to take lead in his new environment. However, this stirred up commotion and it brings up the question on who is now the leader: the coaches, the established veterans on the team, or the six-time Super Bowl champ Tom Brady. Early games showed communication and role problems. There were even moments of field disputes between Brady and head coach Bruce Arians during live games. But by mid-season, they had worked through those challenges and ended up lifting the Super Bowl trophy with each other. On the flip side, storming can lead to extreme tension that a team just can't come back from. The 2010 French national soccer team came into the World Cup with a very talented group of players who had recently been finalists in the 2006 tournament. But from the very beginning, the team suffered from internal conflict and poor communication. The players publicly clashed with their coach, even during games when star striker Nicolas Anelka got into a heated argument with head coach Raymond Domenech, which led to Anelka being dropped from the team entirely mid-tournament. This sparked the rest of the players' refusal to train and completely collapsed as a unit. Their group stage elimination early in the tournament was a clear example of storming that was never resolved. So while storming can be a tough bump in the road to manage as a team, it's also critical. Teams that push through this adversity can reach high levels of success. Those that don't may fall apart. It's how they respond to conflict that determines what comes next.
Alrighty, thank you, Emilio, for taking us off of that. We are now moving on to the third stage of the norming process. So, this is the third stage of Tuckman's theory, and what this is all about is kind of right as the big conversation happens, and then what happens after that. Now, all the conflicts have been going on during this time, the miscommunications, maybe strong personalities are coming up. All of the issues are being brought to the head. The arguments have happened. And this is now what's going to happen right after that. This is a very scary but necessary step that needs to be taken if the storming process starts to get out of hand. It is a really important part because this truly is when conflict comes into understanding, it comes into compassion, it comes into understanding what is going on with your team, with your group, with everybody that you have in your current project that you are working on, whatever that may be. Now, as you can see, right after the norming happens, the big scary conversation, we get to hug. It's very nice. This is where we want to be. And just to show some examples of what this kind of looks like, things that are going to take place, basically, this is kind of the breath of air that you take of relief once something bad finally passes. This is when the struggles are going to start to disperse. Hopefully, a conversation will take place. Maybe you'll get to speak with that one person that was kind of stepping on your toes, or maybe you finally speak up for yourself and realize that you do have something that you want to contribute that could help solve the problem at hand. And what begins to happen is that the team begins to function well together. They begin to flow, and like I always like to call it, this is what I call the flow state. of the team. Right after the norming, right after the big conversation, things are going to start to fall into place much more easily. The communication of the team is going to be again to flow a little bit better, and that trust bond is really going to seal. Hopefully, the efficiency, maybe the speed of which you are getting something done, or the unnecessary communication or understanding that happens where you just kind of know what you're supposed to do now. People just kind of start to understand the cues that they're supposed to be in, what their roles are. We start to establish boundaries and kind of where to go from here. What wasn't working in the beginning? What is going to work now? And it may seem kind of daunting at first, but I promise once you get to the end of it, it's going to be very nice. And again, with the hugging kitties and then the hugging each other, this is a very good place to be in. And I wanted to bring up a couple of pop culture references that maybe help you understand this a little bit better. So, the first movie that I have is The Breakfast Club, the 1985 movie that I'm sure many of us have already seen. A very blunt and rough synopsis is their norming happens right after they essentially stop being mean to each other. They all start to throw each other into all of these stereotypes and all these norms and things that they've heard about each other and all of this. But they kind of end up having this conversation and kind of throwing up their hands at the situation at hand because guess what? They're all stuck in the same room when they all do not want to be there. And at the end of the day, they're just kind of all people, living their high school lives. And we get this really fun scene afterwards, this little montage that's always a great time. And now, in the second example I have is from the Last of Us video game, specifically from 2013. The two characters, Ellie and Joel, and let me tell you, conflicts, 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 all day, all night, anytime. And this is still fairly early in because a big important thing to remember is that the norming stage and the storming stage may be interchangeable. You might pop back and forth between those every time. It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to get that first conversation and immediate resolution every time that this happens. And these two are a perfect example of that because this is still very early on in their stage of their journey. And we obviously know that many more conflicts start to happen afterwards, but we do get this beautiful moment after they've kind of, batted it out with each other and they're very untrustworthy of each other and just kind of, sketchy and skeevy where they get to see a giraffe. And Ellie gets to experience this for the first time because she grew up in a completely apocalyptic world since she was a baby. And Joel kind of gets to guide her through, explain this isn't a dangerous animal, come look at this. And it's just a really beautiful moment and a product of kind of their trust starting to develop between each other. And then the last example that I have is from the most goated show of all time, Avatar: The Last Airbender, that was released in 2005. The moment that I chose, just displayed here, is from season 3. And the character on the left, his name is Zuko, and he has been on the bad side this whole time. And he finally makes this huge decision towards the end of the show to switch sides over to our character Aang and his group on the right. There's huge blowups that happen. They definitely do not trust him at first. And little by little, he has to start working his way through the group. He has to do this kind of form of norming one by one with each character, going on different journeys, having different conversations that, again, aren't just solved by the first time that it happens. As much understanding that can get put out there, he tries. And eventually, after this final journey with him and Aang, things kind of start to seal between the two of them and they start to work really well hand in hand as a team. So that's pretty much all I have for norming now, and I will pass it on to the next stage. Thanks so much.
All right, so let's talk about when a team is in the zone. You ever been on a team where everything just clicks? Like everyone knows what to do. Nobody's slacking and stuff actually gets done without a bunch of drama. That's the performing stage. The team is fully functional and in sync. By this point, the team trusts each other. Like, no, for real. There's no micromanaging, no let me double check your work type of stuff. Everyone just handles their part because we trust each other to show up and do our thing. Everyone knows their role and gets it done. Nobody's wasting time on stuff that's on the side. The team is super focused on the goal, whether it's a school project, a work thing, or even planning a trip with friends. Everyone is on the same page. Like, let's get this done and done well. Focus is locked in on the goal. It's open, smooth, and honest communication. Motivation is natural. Everyone contributes. What makes this stage so cool is that the team doesn't need someone hovering over them to keep it going. The motivation is just there. Communication flows, roles are clear, and everyone actually wants to contribute. It's like you're not just working, you're working together. So, yeah, this is the part where the group just runs like a well oiled machine. You're productive, you're vibing, and it kind of feels good to be a part of it. Here's a perfect example. It's like you're in a school group project, and this time it's different from all the messy ones before. From day one, everyone's on point. One person is great at designing slides, someone else kills it with research, and another is awesome at presenting. And the best part? Nobody's stepping on each other's toes or trying to do it all. You know your lane, and you're cool staying in it. No one's chasing people down and turn in stuff. You trust each other. Like, if she says she's got the intro, then I know she's got it. And if something goes wrong, no one's blaming each other. You fix it together. That's performing. It's smooth. You leave the meeting feeling accomplished instead of annoyed. And low key, it makes you want to work with the same group again later because the vibe is just that good. Okay, let's talk about the end of the road, the adjourning stage. It's kind of a weird mix of emotions. You just finished this big group project or goal, and now it's time to say goodbye to the team. And it's not always easy. By this point, the task is complete and the team is about ready to disband. There are a lot of mixed emotions. There's pride and a little sadness. Yet it's time to reflect and celebrate our success. Sometimes people call this the mourning phase. Because even though the work is done, you might actually miss the team. You've been working together, joking around, sharing ideals, supporting each other, and now it's over. It's important to recognize each person's role, and it gives the team closure. But it's not all sad. There's usually a lot of pride too. Like, dang, we really did that. It's the perfect time to celebrate the wins, even the small ones. Whether it's giving each other shout outs, grabbing coffee together, or just saying, hey, thanks for being great. It's important to have that moment of recognition. It gives everyone a sense of closure. You're not just disappearing, you're ending on a good note with appreciation and maybe even a little reflection. That way, even if the team breaks up, the good vibes stick around, leaves everyone feeling appreciated, and it sets the tone for future teamwork. So, yeah, adjourning is that final bow. It's the we did it and the see you later all rolled into one. And honestly, it deserves just as much attention as the rest of the stages. Here's a quick example we discussed in our group. It was about a big event that we had to plan. It's my mom and dad's 40th anniversary. And we were going ahead and planning an event with my cousins. We had spent weeks texting each other. We were budgeting, calling vendors, the whole deal. At first, it was stressful, but eventually we got into a groove. Everyone had their job and did it well. Then the event came. It was a super success. And after that, it was like, okay, what now? Even though we were relieved it was done, I honestly missed our little chats. We laughed a lot, we shared ideas, and we made something special together. When we went out to celebrate for dinner, it really helped us wrap things up. We got a chance to say thank you and actually enjoy what we had accomplished together. That's what adjourning is about. Closing the chapter with some love, not just checking out and moving on like it never happened.
As we close out this presentation, it's worth taking an outside look on what Tuckman's model is trying to help us learn and take out into the world of collaboration with minimal roadblocks. Tuckman's model isn't just a bunch of labels. It helps us understand the real challenges that teams come up against. It reminds us that great collaboration doesn't just come overnight. It's built over time, with lots of patience, through experience, communication, and sometimes conflict. Our group explored these stages not to provide simple do's and don'ts, but to highlight something much larger, that group development is simply a process. Whether you're on a sports team, in a classroom group like ours, or working in a company, the road to success usually involves adversity, breakthroughs, and necessary growth as time goes on. Any people, anytime people come together to do something bigger than themselves, they're going to go through these stages provided in Tuckman's theory. So what should we do with this information? It means we shouldn't expect perfection when working with other people. What's powerful about Tuckman's theory is that it provides teams with a blueprint to deal with struggle. These early moments of tension or confusion, that's not failure. It's actually a positive sign of significant progression. The key is to push through these moments together. In our group, we experienced elements of this model firsthand, from getting to know each other, figuring out how to communicate and divide tasks, and to ultimately come together in creating this presentation here. In a way, you can say we lived what we were learning. So if there's one very important takeaway in this presentation, it's that successful teams don't skip steps or cut corners. They allow adversity to make way into group situations, and they embrace it together as a team. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to our presentation. We hope it gave you a fresh perspective on how groups work and how every challenge along the way can be a part of building something stronger. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you so much for listening to our presentation. I hope you enjoyed it and all the things we had to say for Tuckman stages of development. I wanted to end this video with talking about our collective Aspen Tree group and kind of what we took from this course, our experience through it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's get into it. Our experience. So I just wanted to say that I think I speak for all of us when I say that we felt extremely lucky with the group that we got put into. I'm very happy for all of my teammates, and I hope they're happy for myself as well. I feel like we worked really well together, and I'm very happy to say that on this next slide, this photo right here of chaos and stress going on was something that I am very excited to announce that we did not seem to have much of it. We had a few things that went wrong, but we established boundaries very early into when we all first met each other and kind of solved all the conflicts that arise. I wanted to talk about a few of the things that we took from our textbook and from everything we've learned in this course and how we made it work for us. So when we were first assigned our groups, the best thing that worked for us was immediately we all got on a group text message together, and that was truly our main form of contact. We were very, very responsive. Everybody answered within a day's time. We planned out lots of days too to kind of work on things together. Even this project itself, MAYRA really wanted to get ahead of it, so we all collectively thought that was a great idea, thinking ahead so that way we could all have time to process everything we needed to do and make changes beforehand. And that's what we did. We got this all done before Monday to try and figure out what we wanted to fix prior to submitting the assignment. We were also really good with reaching out to each other. Any issues that we had, any problems, any confusion, I myself reached out to the group several times regarding things I didn't understand or needed more clarity on. TWANNA also was able to reach out a few times when we had some questions about that. We also had a lot of compassion and understanding for each other, and I can't express how much of importance that holds in a team. All of us were kind of, we would take one thing, one person would submit an assignment one day, and the next time another person would do it, the third time someone else would do it. We'd be able to reach out, communicate very freely between each other, and I truly think that's what made our group such a success. For all of the stages of Tuckman's theory, I am so happy to say that we didn't necessarily have a storming stage. I would say that we, in our confusion or some of the conflicts that did arise were mainly just assignment based, and it was more just trying to figure out how someone got to an answer or why they saw it that way. And again, not to repeat myself 1,000 times, but communication was truly the key to making this a seamless group effort. The selflessness as well was a huge thing. I had to reach out to the group to get some help with one of my assignments, and all of us were very collaborative, reaching out, hey, can I see what your portion looks like? I'd like it to, be about the same thing, or, get ideas. And everybody was just fantastic. And I think that starting the course with not knowing her groups yet or having full communication up until that point, just having smaller assignments was great because then we got to learn a lot of different techniques, norms, things we should put in place prior to a big project like this. And yeah, I just want to say thank you. That comes from all of us. I can definitely say that we took a lot from this course, and I hope that this presentation was reflective of that. So yeah, thanks so much. Have a good rest of your day.